Over the past few months, there's been one constant on Monday Night Raw, and it's been the consistency of Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, with Alexa Bliss, and what they've been doing with their Funhouse segments, this weird relationship between Alexa Bliss and The Fiend, and seeing Alexa Bliss and how her expression changes at the mention of The Fiend, how Nikki Cross has been outcast because Alexa Bliss is now fascinated with Bray Wyatt and The Fiend, and all these things they're doing to go with that. Seeing that play out in the past 2 to 3 months has been by far and away the most compelling thing about Monday Night Raw, which isn't really saying much because Monday Night Raw is a 3-hour program, week in, week out, is excruciating to watch. But that said, nevertheless, it doesn't take anything away from what Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt, particularly Alexa Bliss, are doing at the moment. I think the work they're doing is phenomenal, and that's what this video is going to be all about. The video, you've seen it by the title, you've seen it in the thumbnail. Alexa Bliss is awesome. Yeah, it's not exactly a title which I would have thought I'd be putting out 4, 8, 10 months ago, because 4, 8, 10 months ago, hell, even 2, 3 years ago, Alexa Bliss was someone who obviously had plenty of fans, never for a second questioning the amount of fans Alexa Bliss has had because of the whole 5 Feet of Fury and what she's done in the past few years, winning the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championships several times, her work as like the bully of Nia Jax and then being bullied by Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss's work bullying Bayley when she was a heel on Raw in 2017, and then we had some other stuff with Alexa Bliss, like her tag team Nikki Cross. So Alexa Bliss has been involved in some decent stuff, but nothing character-wise or like how compelling it is wise, nothing compares to what she's doing at the moment. This character, this, as I mentioned earlier in the video, this real fascinated, obsessed with The Fiend, this like Funhouse, just unique, revitalized version of Alexa Bliss, it's just the most compelling thing on Raw. And really, as Bonafide Heat said in his Raw review yesterday, I stand by what he says here. Alexa Bliss and what she's doing at the moment as far as the character, this character she's playing week to week, it's quite frankly the most compelling and interesting female character in WWE pretty much ever. Because I just am thinking about this as far as other women's wrestlers who have really left a legacy, and none of them have the kind of character that Alexa Bliss does at the moment. Let me explain. I look at someone like Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is the queen, okay, and she wins near enough every match, okay, she's won, 11 titles already? Fair enough, and that's literally her thing. She's the queen and she wins. Oh, what a character that is. Let's look at someone like Bayley. Bayley as a heel is definitely a bit more compelling than Bayley as a babyface. Babyface Bayley was, I'm a hugger, I'm gonna hug you. Wow. Oh, compelling that. So yes, that was Bayley. Becky Lynch, I look at her run as the man. That was quite possibly the most compelling female character outside of this version of Alexa Bliss at the moment. But granted, they're pretty different things. Becky Lynch and her run as the man was very over because of, well, one, the crowd, the anti-hero dynamic, how Becky Lynch was taking the piss out of legends near enough every week, but she got punched by Nia Jax, and that set the crowd alight, and they were loving Becky Lynch and all that. So that was one thing, getting over with the crowd and riding a wave of momentum like Becky Lynch did. But what Alexa Bliss is doing is not just predicated upon a crowd. What Alexa Bliss is doing is awesome because of the character work. It's awesome because week to week, you know that if you turn on Monday Night Raw at 8 p.m. on the USA Network, for you guys who watch it on the East Coast in the United States live on a Monday night, or for me at 12 p.m. Australian whatnot time on a Tuesday like midday. Okay, for me when I turn it on, I know when I'm watching Alexa Bliss, it's going to be something worthwhile. Whether it be that the Funhouse segments with Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss, which, the thing about the Funhouse, I said this in my Raw review yesterday, the Funhouse segments themselves, granted, they're 2 to 4 minutes long, there's plenty of Easter eggs in there, like that's one thing, because Bray Wyatt's involved in making them. Bray Wyatt is just a genius as far as storytelling and character and whatnot, so Those Funhouse segments have a heap of like goodies and Easter eggs in there that if you really watch it and pay attention to it, you really understand the depths and grasps of the story. But even as just a surface level viewing experience, it's interesting, it's entertaining, you want to see what they do week in, week out in the Firefly Funhouse. Even if at surface level it doesn't make the most sense, you know that what they're actually doing is telling a really compelling, captivating story. So Alexa Bliss being involved in that has made her captivating enough, and then let alone the stuff she's doing like just by herself. This whole thing with Nikki Cross, where Nikki Cross was deranged, wanting to beat the Fiend out of Alexa Bliss, and Alexa Bliss during their match last night on Raw was, prancing around ringside, all happy, all smiling, in her like upbeat, jovial persona, which the attire fits perfectly for. It's an attire that's unique. It tells like a character. Like, it's not just a random wrestling attire. It's not just what all these other women's wrestlers wear. It's something that stands out in a good way. So there's that, and then the acting, where Alexa Bliss is like having a breakdown. She's like crying. Nikki Cross is like, well, what are you doing? What's happening? As Alexa Bliss is like, I'm sorry, like all that kind of stuff. It's compelling, captivating storytelling. And then going back to the women's wrestlers of the past few years, I was doing some thinking as well as far as 2015. Now, 2015 was the year where WWE really put their foot on the pedal, on the gas of the women's revolution. We remember June, July 2015, Stephanie McMahon came out, introduced Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks. It became a real do about the women's revolution. Now, back in 2015, Raw ratings were 4 to 5 million viewers every week. Now, in 2020, Raw ratings are at 1.3 to 1.8 million viewers. Now, what I'm saying here, the point I'm trying to make, it's not that, women are terrible. No. The point I'm trying to make here is that based on the women's revolution and the fact that for weeks and weeks and months and years now, the women's revolution in the past 5 years, the women they've pushed have not had nearly the compelling character to like an Alexa Bliss, where you're compelled to watch Raw. It's by and large just been, okay, here's two women, they're going to fight in the main event because this is historic. As opposed to, here's a compelling story, here's a compelling character, let's watch them fight. Now, as far as men, there's hardly been any captivating male characters in the past 5 years either, which is by and large the reason why the ratings suck as well. But at the same time, it goes both ways. Women's revolution, men in the last 5 years in WWE, the compelling characters haven't been there. And that's why the ratings are where they're at right now. So I look at that, and then I see this Alexa Bliss character, something which every week, if you put Alexa Bliss in the title and thumbnail of your Raw review, you know that video is going to do well, because Alexa Bliss, people care and are interested to see what she's doing, what this version of Alexa Bliss, this funhouse, Fiend-obsessed, Nikki Cross betraying version of Alexa Bliss does, says, is involved in, all that kind of stuff. You're interested, you care. And that's something which is the case with so few wrestlers nowadays. Because for me, I only have that with, I'd say, Roman Reigns, Alexa Bliss, and The Fiend. Straight up. Someone like Drew McIntyre, he's awesome, he's larger than life, but he doesn't really have a character that I need to see what they're going to do each week. It's not like that with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is great. He's as legitimate a WWE champion as we've had since Brock, and then before that, since I don't even know who, since Cena. He's as legit and credible as it comes. But as far as week in, week out, I'm not desperately tuning in to see what Drew McIntyre has to say in a promo. I'm not desperately seeing what angle Drew McIntyre was involved in. Whereas Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt and what they've got going on, I actually am. I'm going to watch what they do week in, week out until either this loses all momentum or they do something. I don't know. But yeah, for now, what they're doing is really good. Alexa Bliss is showing why having a character and giving the fans a reason to care and giving casual fans a reason to be compelled is the best way to go in pro wrestling. It's not just relying upon matches and saying, like, if you're a heel, I don't like the fans, the fans are stupid, I'm going to have a great match because I'm a great athlete. And if you're a babyface, I've worked hard, I've wrestled all over the years, I'm going to put on a great match and prove to you why I should be respected. because that's really the babyface heel dynamic nowadays. This Alexa Bliss and Fiend thing couldn't be further from that. There's actually meaning, there's stuff happening every week, there's little Easter eggs in the story, there's a reason to care beyond a surface level, there's like deeper reasons to care. So yeah, that's been the video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, be sure to like, comment, sub, you know the drill. See ya.